Well, good morning, guys. Tim with Outdoors for Adventure. Now, as you can see behind me, I made a little bit of a change. Let me flip the camera around. I've got our sticker off the back of the truck. In fact, I've got most all the stickers off the truck. I've got the rack off of the truck. And I'm in the process of selling the truck. Yeah, I know. I put all the money and work into fixing it up like I wanted it, and now I'm going to get rid of it. But I'll be using it until it sells, because I'm not going to just give it away. And what I've done so far is I've swapped everything over to this trailer. Now I'm not done. I'm adding more support to my rack. I've got me a nice box bolted in the front that I can lock stuff up in that'll be secure, and using the same box that I was using in the truck with my solar. But today we're testing out this diesel heater to see if it's going to heat the rooftop tent. And this morning the temperature is 38, and I just started this, and we're going to see how warm it gets in the tent. Okay, so diesel heater's been running long enough that I had time to put that hose clamp on, and I've got it running up, into the tent. The hose is warm to the touch. Pretty warm. And it was 38 degrees outside when I checked a minute ago. Okay, so I've got this dryer duct hose just run through this side on the tent. Now on this tent, this is actually a vent for air to escape, for the tent to breathe. There's also one on this side, so that's always open. I need to kind of puff the outside layer out so you get a little more air, but I've got everything else zipped up. Window flaps are up, and right now inside the tent, let me hold this correctly, let me swap hands. Inside the tent with the heater going, 75.8 degrees right now. So 38 degrees outside, 75, almost 76 degrees right now. But I've had this flap open when I climbed in, so I would imagine that temperature's gonna go up some more. I am going to have to extend my wires on the controller that's on the unit so I can put it in the tent, because you're going to want that to shut on and off once you get the comfortable temperature you have it set at. So that is something that I do believe I need to do, because it's going to be too big of a hassle, I think, messing with it on and off manually. So I'll see what I can do there. But yeah, a diesel heater will definitely heat a rooftop tent. See what we got here. I've been sitting in the coat, I'm burning up, but we're still at 75.8. Now I'm gonna go out there and play with settings before I rewire my controller and see if I can't get the temperature to stay down a little lower than this. Okay, so I did slow my fuel pump speed down, and I slowed my air fan speed down. But without moving this up into the tent, I'm not going to be able to control my temperature like a thermostat in your home. And I really think that needs to be up in the tent, so once it reaches a temperature, it'll shut everything down. At least that's the way I understand that works. And all you have to do is splice into your wire and run longer wires so it'll reach up into your tent. But like I said, I slowed this down. Now when you run these things slow, they say you really need to crank it up high before you put it up to burn out the soot that's accumulated inside the heater. So that's something to keep in mind when you crank everything down. It's slowed down quite a bit. I do have some air gap right here, but I can shove something inside there and kind of block that, keep anything from getting in there, any bugs. So I'm gonna let that run just a little bit, and we're gonna see if it cools down on a lower setting. Okay, I'm just letting this run a little while at its lower setting. Still pretty warm on that hose. Let's talk a little bit about this trailer and what I'm doing. And this should be a separate video, I don't know, but I figure while I'm letting this run at a lower setting, I want to see if the temperature will drop any in the tent. But I've said in some of our past videos that eventually we're going to add another more off-worthy type camper trailer to our camping equipment. And the one we're looking at is actually about 18 feet long, okay? So this trailer here is 10 foot long. And since I'm going to sell the truck and I'm looking for a sport utility, I'll still be able to put the rooftop tent on top of whatever we get. But I wanted something also that we could carry a lot of stuff in for extended stay trips. And I also wanted to use this as a test. Can I get a trailer in some of the places that we go? And I know this one's shorter by a good 8 feet, but it'll give me an idea of what pulling a trailer into the forest and some of these places is going to be like. And you know, whether I want to invest the money in a 18, I can't get a 15 foot, but I figure extra 3 feet is not going to be that big a deal. But I could go 15 foot. And the trailers that I'm looking at, you know, they have the off-road tires, they have plenty of ground clearance, and you know, they're set up to primitive camp. But that's going to be later down the road. And like I said, this would be a good time to just try pulling a trailer around to see if it's something I really want to invest money in for this type of camping. Now on this trailer, I am going to have to replace my tires because these are dry rotted. So I'll be replacing the tires. The spare's good, it's new. And I think I'm going to do a spring flip. Right now the axle's mounted the axle's mounted on top of the spring, and I think I'm going to flip it to where the axle is under the spring, and that'll give me another probably about 3 inches of ground clearance. So it's just a thought that I may do if it looks like I need more ground clearance. I am going to put a jack on the back. That way when we get to a campsite, if I unhook, I can use the front and the rear jacks to kind of get it level and keep it from, you know, flipping when you're messing around. Say you're on the back end, you don't want it flipping up with you. So I will be adding a jack there, and I'll probably paint everything. I'm going to add more support on the middle of this rack. I'm going to put a support going across the front that will serve to add more support to my rack, and also bolt the top back of this box too. Right now I've got it bolted to the front with some pretty big bolts, and I figure once I put that cross member here and then also bolt to the box, that's really going to sturdy this rack up. Which I've been up there, I pushed and pulled on it, and that rack's not going anywhere as it is. One thing I did notice on this trailer when they built it is on these angle pieces here, they welded on each side, but they didn't weld across the point. And I am going to weld across this point, and that'll give more support to this top piece of metal and keep it from flexing. So I'll go around and I'll put a bead on each one of these, and I'll be re-welding some of these joints. Because it's just stuff that's laying around. You know me, this is still our budget way to get out and disperse temp. And I've used that rack. I forgot when I made that video of putting that rack together, but we've used it quite a while now, and it's still holding up just fine. And it'll probably remain on this trailer. I can use it to haul kayaks on and stuff like that. If I take the box out, I can fit my 2-man pontoon boat up in there and have the rooftop tent up top. Or as it is, I can put kayaks off in there. And it's just a lot of versatility having a trailer. Now this trailer's not going to go down no, trails, pig trails, but it will go down forest roads, and it will get into a lot of camping areas. So we're going to be trying it out, and like I said, I've got a good way to lock stuff up, so that's a plus. I'll get some good padlocks. It'll take 2 padlocks on this front box to lock that up. And as you can see, the tent sets up just fine. Now on my height, I'm lower than what it was on the truck, so I think I can still get the annex underneath it, but I'm gonna have to kind of play with it because it is lower. And I could always set the trailer up on some rocks to get more height, and if I do a spring flip, that'll be 3 more inches, so it'd probably be okay. But let's climb up in here and see what the temperature is since I turned the settings down. Okay, it's pretty hot up here. I gotta turn it on. Okay, I'm not touching the prong, and we're at 83, 84. So yeah, I would say we're definitely gonna have to get the thermostat up in this tent so we can keep that temperature down. But for now, I'm just gonna use the remote and turn it off, and it'll stay warm up in here for a while. And you can turn it on and off with the remote, but I'd rather have it thermostatically controlled. That way during the night you can sleep and not worry about look, we're 91 degrees. So I'm gonna turn it off, and the point to this video is, can you heat a rooftop tent with a diesel heater? Well, you most certainly can. So to turn it off, we're connecting, and we're just going to hit the power button and hold it until it says off. It says off. Now that will continue to run through a cool down process, and then once it cools down, it'll go off. But yeah, as long as you got that, man, you're not going to be cold in that tent.